I'm going to give you 11 very important new player starting tips, and we're starting right now. Thank you so much to all the support from patrons, channel members, and Twitch subscribers that make this possible. Welcome to A Star Citizen's Guide to the Galaxy. This is SubliminaL here, and today I'm going to share with you some tips that I wish I had known when I took my first steps into the verse. Star Citizen is a complicated game, and it can be daunting at the start. Since the game can't hold your hands due to obvious reasons, I will. This is part of a series on the channel with tips that follow some sort of theme. The theme for this guide will be From Bed to the Skies, giving you some quick tips to make it easier to get from the bed you spawn in to landing at a space station. If you're a player with more experience, stick around because some of these tips I've learned recently from my Twitch chat. And give me any tips that you feel I can add to future episodes. New players, make sure you stick around to the end when I share how you can set up a free account and receive 5,000 Alpha UEC that's really great to have when you're first starting in the verse. Enough with the formalities, let's get to it. In case there are some of you who haven't yet played Star Citizen, I'll start by launching the game. If you've already got this part down, you can skip to the timestamp on screen. From the launcher, we'll click the Launch Game button. I'll fast forward through the loading. Here you have three options. First is Persistent Universe. This is, well, the Persistent Universe. Star Marine. This is the multiplayer FPS game included with Star Citizen. And finally, we have Arena Commander that's similar to Star Marine, but you'll be using your spaceships instead of FPS weapons. On the right side is our friend list where we can view and search for friends. And notifications is where you can accept friends requests or party invites. We're going to be heading to the Persistent Universe as the latter two are beyond the scope of this guide. Clicking Persistent Universe for the first time will bring you to the character creation screen. Again, this is beyond the scope of this guide, so I'll skip through this. You'll be able to make changes to your character at any time from the start menu. From here, you'll select your system. Hangars is where you can spawn your ships and take a look at them up close. But the Stanton system is where we want to go. More systems are in the works. Your first time loading into the PU, you will have the option of picking your spawn point. Your options are Lorville, Area 18, and New Babbage. Once you pick your location, you will be unable to change it in the future unless there's a wipe or you do a character reset. But don't worry, you can just fly there manually at any time. And the next time you spawn, you'll just be at your last visited location anyway. I'm going to go with New Babbage as it's one of the more user-friendly locations. From here, you have the option to pick your region or just leave it at best. We'll be picking best and finally click Visit Location. Okay, so you spawned in and you're lying in the bed of your HAB. You can tap Y to leave your bed. Remember this, as you'll be using it to leave any seat or bed that you sit in or lie down in the verse. Let me be the first to welcome you to Star Citizen. This is your HAB. Well, it's not yours because after you leave here, the door will close and you'll be unable to enter again. But anyway, you can interact with things in the verse by pressing and holding the F key on your keyboard and left-clicking the command that appears on screen. There are plenty of things in here to interact with. Before we head out, let's get to my first tip. It is actually to map your F button to a button on your mouse because you'll be doing this a lot. If you have a mouse with a clutch button like some of the more popular FPS mice, this would be ideal. However, programming this to any button easily accessible to your thumb is very immersive. I can't show you how to do this on every software, however, I'll show you how to do it on Corsair's iCUE. You'll want to make a new profile and select your mouse. Then click Actions, add a new macro. Under Remap, click A to Z keys, select F and left click on the button in the photo of your mouse that you want to remap F to. That's it. Now when you reach out to touch items, it's like you're actually grabbing them. As I stated in the intro, Star Citizen is a space sim and it can be pretty hard at times to figure things out. So suffice to say, you will be spending a lot of time Googling and searching for answers to questions. So my first tip, before we get into the verse, is to step you through how to set up Borderless Window mode. First, click Escape on your keyboard and then Settings. Go to the Graphics tab and find Window mode. Then select Borderless. Now, with this enabled, you can Alt-Tab without the game being automatically minimized. This can help tremendously if you're trying to browse the internet or chat on Discord while still looking at the screen. The next tip is going to involve adding a key binding. Soon you may find yourself needing to easily remove and put on your helmet, either for immersion or simply eating and drinking. Currently, there is no key binding for this, so let's set one. We'll click Escape, Options, Key Bindings, Advanced Controls Customization, scroll down to On Foot-All, click it, and scroll down to the bottom until we see Toggle Equip Helmet. Now double tap left click. I prefer to bind this to H because, well, helmet starts with the letter H and it's currently not mapped to anything else while you're on foot. Alright, with that done, we can escape out, and we can tap F4 to go into third person and tap H to remove and equip our helmet. Easy enough. Okay, we spent enough time in here, just head towards the door and interact with the panel on it. Head down the hallway and take a look at the scenery if you'd like. Elevators have a touch panel next to their doors. We'll click Call Elevator and wait for it to arrive. Once inside, the bottom of this panel, we can see that there's a button for the lobby. You could also visit other floors, but they're identical to this one that you just spawned in. Leave here and head out into the lobby. Head down these stairs. Next, you'll come to a fork. To our right is the Commons. Here, you'll find weapons, food, ship components, ship weapons, and more. But since you have limited funds, we'll save that for another video. Let's head left to the spaceport. You may need to wait for the train to arrive. Once it does, walk inside. You may want to pick a good spot to stand in because the scenery here can be breathtaking. Speaking of breathtaking scenery, you know what can ruin it? Global chat. My fourth tip is to remove chat. You can do this by clicking F12. Ah, much better. You should see this during sunrise. Alright, once your tram arrives at the spaceport, go to the left and head to one of the elevators. Yeah, I know, there's a lot of elevators in this game. Exit the elevator and keep following down the hall. Feel free to take a look around. We'll be heading over to the ship retrieval terminal. Select the ship you'd like to fly and select retrieve. I'm going to choose the Aurora LN. It's the light fighter variant of the popular starter ship. Your ship will be loaded in and the terminal will tell you what hangar it spawned in. If you forget, there will be a marker on your HUD with the ship's location and the hangar it's located in. Step into the elevator and click your desired hangar. If you choose the right one, you should see your ship waiting for you. Walk up to your ship's door or canopy. If you can't find it, when you get close enough to it, there will be a label that will show up on screen. Once you find the entrance, hold F or that interaction button that we mapped in step 1, and choose between your options. This ship has enter ship, open door, and open ladder. We want to enter the ship, as this will open the door and the ladder and allow us to climb in. Before you select one of those, let's discuss my fifth tip. You don't actually need to pick one of these options. Of the options available, whatever is at the top will automatically be selected if you just double tap F. Let's do that. Just look at the door or at the item you want to interact with and double tap F. Now we're inside. From here, you can enter the pilot seat, leave through the starboard exit, or lie down in bed. Let's get into the pilot seat. And for this again, we'll just double tap F. There are a lot of buttons in here that actually all have a function, but going over them is beyond the scope of this guide. For now, we're just going to head up to Port Tressler, a space station above New Babbage. First, we'll tap R for flight ready. This will power on your engines, weapons, shields, etc. Now to open the hangar doors. My sixth tip is one that I actually just realized I've been doing wrong for years. You'll need to contact ATC or air traffic control to open the hangar doors. To do this, you could open your mobi-glass with F1 and navigate to the Comlink tab. However, you could just tap F11 and be taken straight there. We'll do that. From here, we'll select Friends and put in a call to New Babbage International Spaceport. Your call is being initiated and you'll get a verbal confirmation from ATC.
You are clear to launch.
Once the doors have opened up enough, give yourself some upward thrust with spacebar. Tuck in your landing gear by tapping in. You can strafe forward, backwards, left, and right with WASD. Let's give it some forward thrust. Once you've cleared the hangar doors, you can begin to pitch up by using your mouse. The horizontal lines you see on your HUD is called a pitch ladder. You'll want to pitch up at about 90 degrees. When you do this, you might actually see Port Tressler depending on the time of day.
Thank you.
Instead of holding W on your keyboard, you can tap C to start cruise control. This will accelerate you forward without using afterburner. To get the quantum travel markers to show up, tap B to engage your quantum drive. Now, aim for Port Tressler. At this point, we are unable to quantum travel to Port Tressler because we are still within the New Babbage atmosphere. So we'll just wait just a little bit more. You can press Shift to use Afterburner to accelerate this process, but with this ship being a starter, it overheats pretty quick, as you can see that I've done here, so we may just want to be patient. Unfortunately, this particular planet has a pretty dense atmosphere. Once you've left the atmosphere, your quantum drive will start to calibrate. Once this is done, you can press and hold B to start your jump. Great, you've left the clutches of New Babbage and you're ready to start exploring. If you use cruise control, it will still be activated. As you can see, we're accelerating faster now without the drag of atmosphere. But be careful with cruise control at this point because you don't want to overshoot the space station. Once you get close enough, turn off your cruise control. Make sure you're not aimed directly at the space station. Once the red words pop up saying contact ATC, you can do so by tapping F11. Just like we did before, let's call Port Tressler this time. This brings me to my 7th tip that's actually 2 tips. Tip 7 is there is actually no need to wait for this screen to complete this call. You can just tap F11 and escape to close your mobiGlas and continue flying your ship. The next step, 7.5, is that you don't actually have to land at this space station to save your spawn point here. Once your landing pad has been assigned, you can just head to your destination. If you die, you'll just spawn back here at this space station's HABs. However, for the purpose of this video, I'll just briefly show you how to land. For this, head towards the marker on your HUD that looks like a circle with a down arrow in it. As you approach the space station, make sure you use my 8th tip, and that's to limit your speed by reducing your speed limiter. This can be done by scrolling down with the middle mouse button. I'd recommend bringing this down to this white line if you're new at this. This line is your SCM speed. We may go over this more in depth in a later video. If you are in a ship with quick forward acceleration, you may want to actually limit this down further. This ship is actually pretty slow, so I'll stay above SCM speed. Bring yourself over your designated pad. Go ahead and tap in to deploy your landing gear. Bring yourself over your designated pad, and if you're within the blue box, you can hold in to start the automated landing procedure. Space stations are great. Setting your spawn here ensures that if you die, you don't have to ride 3 elevators and a train to get back to your ship. I'd encourage you to explore this space station. Some stations have stores that sell armor and weapons for your character, weapons and components for your ship, food vendors, refinery decks, cargo decks, and more. All of this is again beyond the scope of this guide. For now, I encourage you to do some missions found in your mobiGlas. For this, you'll need to tap F1 to open your mobiGlas and navigate to the Contracts Manager tab. There are a lot of missions here, but I really only recommend one type if you're just starting in the verse, and that's delivery missions. Delivery missions aren't the best paying jobs, however, they will put you through the paces of some of the most basic and fundamental tasks, and that's navigating around the verse. Let's start with one of these missions. Let's click on the first one and click Accept Offer. Here, you can either abandon, track or untrack the mission, or even share it with another player. I don't recommend this as you'll split the funds between you and your party members, and these don't pay enough for multiple people. Now we need to set a waypoint for our destination. To do this, we need to pull up our mobiGlas and get to our StarMap. Or we can just use tip number 9, and that's tapping F2 to pull up your mobiGlas straight to the StarMap page. Now that we loaded this up, we can see where we're located, but we need to zoom out, so this leads into my next tip, number 10. Instead of using your scroll wheel to zoom out on the StarMap to find your destination, we can double-click left mouse button to zoom out to the system level. Here, you can see all of the destinations in the Stanton system: Crusader, Hurston, ArcCorp, and Delamar, as well as more than half a dozen Lagrange points that probably have a space station within them. As we can see by this green marker, our destinations are all located near Microtech where we're located, so we can use our final tip, number 11, by double tapping left click on a planet to zoom in to the local planet level. This shows the main planet and its surrounding moons. As we can see, the moon of Calliope appears to have the packages that we need to pick up to deliver to their destinations. So we'll double left mouse button again to get into the planet or moon level zoom. From here, you can click and hold right mouse button to find the location, then left click it and select set route. And that's it. You can now use the same tools that I've given you earlier to quantum travel down to the moon and pick up the packages. Veteran players, please let me know in the comments what I may have missed or if you have any additional tips you'd like me to share with new citizens in the next episode. New players, if you haven't yet enlisted with Star Citizen, you should sign up for a free account today using my referral code. There's a link in the description. You'll receive an extra 5,000 starting alpha UEC. It's very important for new players. If you need additional help, there is a channel Discord linked in the description as well with a helpful community. Also, feel free to ask me any questions live over on twitch.tv/subliminal on Twitch. If you enjoy my channel, there are so many ways to support it, ranging from free options like Prime Gaming subscriptions and sending alpha UEC in the verse, sub club subscriptions, merch, to more generous forms of support. Head over to subliminalchannel.tv to learn how. Your support in all forms makes this channel possible. Even your viewership, liking, and subscribing goes a long way. To continue watching, here's a video I think you may like. Here's a video YouTube thinks you may like, and until next time, citizens, I'll see you in the verse.